How are you guys doing this morning? You guys ready to do some damage here? I have an ancillary heater going today because it's a little bit chilly in the shop today. Just wanted to, if it's too much and it's annoying, just let me know and we can turn it off and make do without it. But if it's all the same to you, then we'll just keep it on. All right. Good morning. I see you, Kevin. I see you, man. How was your day yesterday? Let me fix this visor a little bit. My wife doesn't like it when I wear a flat visor, so guess what? Guess what I like to do? If I could get away with it, I'd wear it with my flat turned up. Cool. Appreciate the feedback, man. Now, how was your day? Did you have a good day yesterday? My guitar's a little bit out this morning. Well, let's turn on some of this stuff. Let's get the party rolling here. Oh yeah. I don't know if I dig that or not. We'll get rid of that red one today. Oh, is it the weather? Your hired hands, like your yard help, or your literal hands? I was talking to one of my old Marine Corps, but a friend, I hike with him, and he's got to have a replacement surgery done on his knees. I guess he's done burned him out. We spent a summer ago. We were like climbing 4,000 footers in a day. We just put in these huge days and just hike. We were just humping it pretty hard, you know. And that kind of activity does have a shelf life on it, you know. Sometimes if you don't pause and reflect and do all of the stretching and all of the things that go along with sort of Olympic endurance athleticism, you know. And sometimes we have no choice but to rest, right? My plan was to get with the guitar this morning, I have an electric guitar with a whammy bar on it. I like to call it the whammy bar, but a tremolo bar, trem bar. I'd like to just get back with that kind of guitar. I have a Spark Mini amp that I think works pretty well just to practice with, you know. Hey Dan, good morning. Yeah, for some reason, my guitar's giving me a run for my money for tuning this morning. But by golly, I'll get it yet. We've got a new puppy on campus too. I don't know if I told you about that. Briggsy. We call him Briggs. My son and his ladies. It's their dog, and it's her dog. And he's a liver and white German short hair, and he's just 8 weeks old or whatever. So he's brand new. He's like fresh, and he's just a big old party in a tiny little cup. Well, let's see if we're in tune, you know. You guys all in tune and all ready to go? Hard to believe it's going to near 60 degrees on Thursday. Yeah, we've got a pretty good outlook here too. I've been working on While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Oh yeah. Did you see, didn't, you know the late great Jeff Healey, right? Did you see Jeff Healey's, you must have seen Jeff Healey's version of that, right? I think everybody saw Jeff Healey's version. Wow. I think I might spend all morning tuning my guitar, I guess. Apologize. Marty McFly, yeah, very cool. Jefferson Airplane. Business now. Let's go ahead and start with the old two finger. We'll start and go by going through the entire warm-up sequence today, just to get it dialed in. Do you know what I mean? It's not really a whole lot more work, but I like to get it done. You can say hi to the kids over here. We have a couple of guitars hanging out back there, just kind of in the bullpen, you know, waiting to be in the batter's box or warming up to get on the mound, you know what I mean. So fingers 1E and a 2, finger 2 and 4, 3 and 4 on 10 and 12. So let's go ahead and get that started. So 1E and a 2, T-E and a 4E and a... Oh, that's a great question. Mr. McFly 420. Hey, I have a really cool Taylor guitar. It's a 420, and I have another electric guitar by Ibanez. It's the RG 420 HPFG, right? It's a really great little guitar, and it's one of the RG series. So it's not a prestige guitar, but it's a really cool RG. So it's like the Super Strat kind of thing. I've been really thinking about getting one of the. You can get the hat right here. There's a link in any one of these videos. I don't know if I have a link in this video or not, but there's a link. It's like in my merch store. I sure would love for you to have the hat. I sure would love for you to purchase the hat in support of this channel, and would absolutely love for you to own one. But you know, that's up to you, and I definitely appreciate the support and the generosity for sure. So fingers 1, 2, and 3 on 10 and 12. Let's go ahead and just take a nice, easy sort of, just a really easy stroll through our warm-up this morning. This is the same thing that, you know, we're going to do for a large chunk of our time together, and apart as well. The thing about musicians, we always meet and part, right? We always meet and part, and we always try to meet with a good sort of attitude, because we're speaking the universal language, aren't we? And while we enjoy 60 beats per minute, this metronome is clicking away at 60 BPM. And I was thinking about it this morning. I don't know if I've placed you all on notice yet, but next year, season number 2 is going to feature 80 BPM. That's going to be our base, our standard. So we can look forward to that. So we do have a substantial amount of growth ready and coming our way. It's heading right down the pike. So just be ready, get your chin straps, your helmets and chin buckles on and all of that stuff, because 80 BPM is going to hit us a little bit harder than what we've been doing, you know. And we'll be thankful for that. And that's my guess. So fingers 1 and 2 on 10 and 12. We are finding ourselves working through the basic, you know, very basic elements of warm-up. We're not really practicing right here. We're warming up, and this is a different situation from practice. This is more like a discovery-based. This is not really discovery-based process. This is more like a, you know, a well-known and well-traveled path that we want to maintain and not let get overgrown. So this is one of those gardening sort of functions of the life of a guitar practitioner. And whether you're a solo, a weekend warrior, we're playing in the bedroom solo, so a lot of beginners will just sort of think, I really want to play the guitar. I have a dream that one day we might be able to all play music together, but we don't really know how to make that happen, you know. And it's so sometimes we can see the dream sort of fade before we even get started. So part of the reason why I'm here is to reduce, mitigate failures, right? Mitigate little chinks in the armor for all of us. It's really simple. Just keep playing and you will become the guitar player that you manifest. It's so simple, you know, it's very simple, but sometimes, well, I don't know what to warm up with. And then I don't know what to practice. There's so much to practice, and where do I want to do it all, and I want to be good at everything, but I think we have to become sort of little specialists in our own worlds, in our own rights, right? So finger 1, 3 on 1, 9 and 12. 3 and 4, and you know what to do. Yeah. So anyway, long story, roundabout way. Next year we're going to be about 20% faster. And you can hear that I'm sliding from one position to the next every time I change position. You can see that I'm not picking it. So I'm really just working on that slur, which is an important part of how we develop our own sense of unique phrasing. Sailor song, please. Hey, we've got a lot of great requests for songs today. Structuring my practice is an issue of mine. Oh, okay. That's a good thing to share. So if you haven't yet met Kevin, if you're new here, Kevin right here is with the Blue Wrench. He's a channel moderator. Play some Jefferson Airplane ! Wow. Wow, that's one way to get, you know, that's one way to endear a friend, isn't it? By yelling at him. Yeah, that's one way to do it. And I appreciate that. You know, sometimes that's what it takes to get me going, you know, a little kick in the rump. That's very cool, you know. I appreciate that you feel comfortable enough to share that on the internet, you know. That's cool. I guess where you're not like personally identified, it's pretty easy just to say whatever you want. Can you please play Horse Comes the Sun, Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Years of jackhammering and beating on pipe. Yeah. Your literal hands. I figured that's what it was. You know. Where are you from? I'm from Iran. Hey, good for you. Good morning, Iran. Good morning. Great to have you in the house. I'd love to play all these songs, and train kept rolling. That's a great song. That's another one. Yeah, they're all so many great songs, right? Bum, 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 bum. All right, here we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what to do. Fingers 1 and 2, and a 1 and 4 on. I don't know if we've done 2 and 4 and 1 and 3, but we're using 1 and 4 on 7 and 12. Here we go. And we're just kind of working our way through this very simple approach, you know. This very simple warm-up, and for some reason, over the past couple of days, we've been getting a little bit of trolling, a little bit of negative feedback, but it happens, and it's nothing, it's beyond my control. And but what I can control is what I do. So I'm going to continue along, inviting you to join us with this morning ritual for guitar growth. It's so easy to do, and it's a warm-up practice. It's a warm-up, which we've been doing for this entire year, and I think most of us who have been here for the year have been growing pretty well. I think we've been doing okay. And we're going to talk about structuring my practice is an issue. We're going to talk about that. I see Lex. I see you, man. Very cool. I'm glad you're here. I missed you earlier. I'm glad that I swept back through here. So 1, 2, T, 4. You know what to do. I don't know what to do. You ever have those days like where you just want to play the guitar, but you feel like, do you ever feel overwhelmed with all of the things to do on the guitar? Yeah. Judging by the feedback that we've collected this year and the programming that we have ready to hit for next year, most of us feel overwhelmed, and we want to undo the overwhelmed feeling. So part of what we're doing every morning, part of what I do internally before I sit down, or quietly while I sit, is I like to set my own intention, and I hope you've been doing it. I haven't been mentioning it for some time, but I do set an intention every time I sit down with the guitar, and I say, good morning, guitar, good morning, guitar, and I'm observant of the guitar, and I'm thankful that the guitar is here, that I have a chance to spend some time down with the guitar, and all of the simple things that many of us kind of look at, we deem it as idiocy, or just maybe we're overdoing it, and I don't ever feel like we could be thankful enough. You know what I mean? I feel sometimes where I'm so thankful for every breath that I have. I can walk down the street and basically not be shot at, I'm thankful for so many things for life in general, to be able to play the guitar every day, that I'm thankful enough that I sometimes will walk down the street and feel as though I should get on my knees and kiss the ground every time I walk 3 or 4 feet. That's how thankful I feel sometimes, right? And I know it's not sort of customary in my area to do that, so I don't do that. But I'm saying that I don't want to miss that observance of being that thankful, and that having that kind of gratitude and feeling that kind of love in my own person. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to infuse all of my practices with that kind of sentiment. So if I start feeling overwhelmed, I know that that's not the good Lord working through me. That's something else working through me, and I have to work on breath. So I have to think about, all right, I got this. I know that if I use the additive process, that I'm going to get where I want to go. It's like we've talked about this before, it's like the rest step. Are you familiar with the rest step that Sir Edmund Hillary used, right? and Tenzing Norgay, you know, all of those great early pioneering Himalayan climbers. They all use these things called the rest step. And I've got to show you something here. Well, let me show you this. This is a reminder. This is a reminder of how. Look how I set the guitar down here too. By the way, I set it down so the tuning posts. I never set it here so that the round neck just goes whoosh. It's a kung fu sound effect waiting to happen. I set it where the tuning posts will kind of stop any long-term motion, right? So that's going to sit there just for a second. I want to show you something. It'll be just a second. It's right over here. Don't go away. I'm not really going anywhere. I just wanted to show you this. Like one of the things that I like to do in my life is I like to climb, right? So one of the things that I keep handy is this is a kit bag, right? This is a great kit bag, and you can see inside I have packed away all the stuff that you'd want to have in a kit bag. But that's where the cameras all sit in here. The laptop goes in here, and all the cards go here. It's a really great rig, and I got it from a friend, but he was doing this film work on so it's on Everest. So this woman had an accident. She had a sort of what you call a peg leg, I guess. I don't know what you call it, a prosthetic leg, and on her foot they had fixed a crampon on the foot, right? And so this is the full circle Everest expedition, and it's a patch that Rob got from 2022, and he's an Emmy award winning, cinematographer. He's an endurance athlete, and he's an Everest guide climber. He guided this woman with a crampon foot up the hill, and we've had a little bit of practice in the high places, and thank goodness. Whittier's over there. What are some of those big ones in the Canadian Rockies over there, Dan? There's all kinds of great opportunities, But what I think about is the rest step. So I think about, yeah, that bag's gigantic. I climbed with a few people, and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you thinking?" They make GoPro cameras. And I'm like, "Yeah, GoPro's for everybody else. We carry the real deal here. We just, we have vapor barriers, and we have like decompression chambers that we put our gear into and out of, and it's just you've got to take care of the stuff in order for it to take care of you." So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I use the rest step philosophy here in the world of guitar. So the world of guitar takes me through 2, 3, and 4, and 10, 11, and 12. There's this really cool sort of thing that I just, it's so easy for me to get overwhelmed to, and sometimes I can't shut it off, right? And you know that feeling. So I'll focus on breathing, right? This is the first thing that I do. But what happens when you focus on breathing, and then you get to, and let's say you get at elevation, and it's that normal breathing pattern because you're working so hard all the time. It gets that normal breathing pattern. You can't collect enough oxygen at elevation in order to have a breath feel like it reinvigorates you. So you have this thing called the rest step, and I had a friend of the late great Willie Unsold. He used to climb with Willie and Mr. Unsold. If you don't know Mr. Unsold's story, you should check it out. But he was talking about the rest step, and put your foot down, you secure the ice axe, your alpenstock, I guess you used to call it. You take one step, and then you rest. And you take another breath, and then you breathe in and out. And then you take another step, and then you rest. And then you look up, and you realize, wow, I have another mile to go, or a half mile to go to my destination. And that breath is what's going to make or break your project, right? You're going to either make the summit because you know how to use the rest step and you know how to manage that energy in that sequencing when there is seemingly nothing else left to give, or you're going to perish, or you just won't make the summit. You'll turn around and be completely disheartened and demoralized. But I think there's a little bit of a lesson there that overcoming the need for that speed and continuity of that comfort, well, something's wrong if I'm not making the same rate of progress that I was earlier on. Well, I've got to tell you, some of the practicing, we're not practicing right now, we're warming up, which is a very different thing. But when we practice for long enough, we collect enough information that we don't always we don't perceive forward momentum at the same rate that we did when we were a neophyte, right? So we're in need of understanding the rest step. For me, that's a huge deal maker. If I can remember that it's a little bit at a time, and that little bit at a time sometimes turns into a little faster rate of speed, and then I'll be back to bagging summits, at elevation before you know it. As long as I spend more time at elevation, but I've got to get to elevation here. But what I'm doing here is I'm still lugging gear into base camp, right? I'm still going back and forth to the, from the truck basically to the base camp, like that 17-mile journey. I'm still lugging gear in, because we're going to need it as we continue to ascend. And these techniques and these patterns are consistent with that kind of success, that kind of longitudinal success, right? And that kind of structure. So I'm hoping that can help a little bit. Oh, I missed Jill's entry here. Good morning, Jill, and thank you for becoming a channel member. I did see that. Thank you very kindly for becoming a channel member, and welcome as a channel member. That's going to become very useful for you, I think, in the near future, as we start to really focus on that channel membership and really develop that. I have another tier of channel membership that's going to open up, hopefully before the new year. I was hoping to get that all up to speed, but time is just so precious. And I was sharing with everybody here that we have a new puppy in our lives at the moment, and it's a little liver and white. He is Briggs. His name is Briggsy, and he's a German short hair. So he's full of life. He's 8 weeks. At least we're confirming that on his AKC documentation. But he's my son and his lady's their dog, right? So it's the next generation down. Fingers 1 and 3 and 4 and 9, 11 and 12. Excuse me. Can you play Stairway to Heaven? You bet I can. Our Wounded Warriors program up here has Down the Everest Climb and the South Pole Trek. What? Are you part of that? Did you hear the Wounded Warriors story that I had shared with everybody? I was going to get eaten by a bear. Did I tell you that? Did you hear that part? What a beautiful program, my friend. What a beautiful thing to support. If ever there was a thing like Life, we have a program here called Life Flight. And life flight is a really great thing. If you ever have, disposable income and you feel like you are ready to, when you become ready to practice philanthropy or charity and you have some cash you need to give away, life flight is a really great one, Great system, great program. Oh, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. If you ever want to come, you should email me because I just want to hear the intro. Okay, please, mate. Oh, so we've got someone here from Great Britain. Yeah, give me a shout if you ever think of it, Dan. And there's a place in the northern part of the state that I spend some time, and a lot of Canadian warriors will come down and hang out and support it. And I don't know how close you are, but I wouldn't want to name it here. But if you have a chance at some point, you can email me at Jason at jasoncareyguitar.com. I'd love to at least chat a little bit about it and learn a little bit about what you did. But yeah, I've talked about the. It's a story I'll share another time. But I meet a lot of great Canadians who are coming down and participating in this program, and it's what a just good people, great people, So many of them are Gold Star family members, All right. I think what we're going to do is talk a little bit about rhythm this afternoon. It's just a little bit all over the place this time of year because I'm excited. We're wrapping up a whole year of this, and what I'm going to do is I think it's going to be sort of like rhythm accompaniment today, but I'm, not sure. Thelonious Monk used to talk about, an interviewer asked him, what kind of music is your favorite kind of music? Or and he says, well, I like all music. And the interviewer says, even country? And and so Thelonious Monk says, what did you not understand about what I just said? And so it's just, there's so many good things to learn and absorb, learn from that. I want to get back to some of the roots things that I really enjoy as well. So, but we'll continue on with fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll get that started right now at this moment. I'm a little further east, but yeah, I'm a little further east. You have to come through customs in the. You can come through any way you like, but you have to make it through a different. We should connect because I'll introduce you to a couple of G14s, whatever. Some of the guys that sort of work behind the scenes to help make this stuff happen, and then. I'd love to meet up in that kind of environment, and or not, what I mean, whatever works. But I think the idea of the rest step is super important for so many approaches in my life because I've discovered I'm only in a race with myself, and as soon as I start to observe what others are doing, just so I have, let me relate to it. The late great Tom Hoffman used to say to me, he's like, you know, people only watch TV, Jason. So I said, I don't, geez, Tom, I don't watch a whole lot of television. He said, well, that's great. You'll have plenty of time to play your guitar. And he said, people only watch TV so that they know what to talk about at work the next day. And I thought, wow, that kind of makes sense, you know, that kind of made sense to me, a younger version of me. And now I understand recreation, and I understand that, you know, not all of us have hobbies and not all of us play the guitar. So I know that, you know, there's a tool for recreation that is, you know, it's all valid, I think, but as long as we're using things as tools, but not crutches or whatever. But I think the rest step is super important, and I know that just by playing through these warm-ups, I know it works for me, and I know I've been able to sit at least on the bench with some of the world's greatest players. So I know that I can share this with you and feel comfortable about this being successful for you too. Practicing now, when I set up a practice schedule, I have to allocate, I have to schedule. I find myself, especially because I'm, you know, I've been through the programming, but as an adult, I have to manage my time and allocate my time, and I sometimes will have to attach fiscal notes to my time allocation. But for the sake of practicing the guitar and warming up on the guitar to the practice point, I definitely have to schedule that in, because it's not one of those things that I want to leave up to fate. You know, it's not one of those things I know plenty of us do it, and it works for some of us, but what works for me is scheduling the time and making the time happen. You can call me by my old name, TJ. I hate the channel name. TJ, what's going on? You're in the house. Hey, you're probably waiting for the next installment of Ted Green. I appreciate that. The holidays are getting a hold of Jason Carey Guitar. We've been pretty festive and pounding the old pumpkin pies around here, but and we make sugar pies, right? Tato sook. So Dan might know about that. The sugar pie. You a sugar pie fan? Dan, we make crepes, and you know, we're maple syrup eating people like you would believe, and we've got some friends in Toronto, Canada, family in Quebec, and beautiful. We used to go stories of the horse and the sleigh and the sugar festivals. You know what I mean? The Maple Sunday festivals up there, where you'd go to, you know, get out there in the woods, and the old school versions of those modern day sort of like festivities. But we've got those stories kind of running around the family at dinner table and holiday tables. Oh yes, love the sugar pie. 1 piece per year. Like, oh wow, ooh, geez, 1 piece per year. Man, I've got to slow down, I think. I didn't realize, I figured all of a sudden it just made sense to mention sugar pie, because we've got a couple of really great recipes in the family, and it's, I'll tell you what, it's a real hard thing for me to, watch just kind of go by, and without overindulging, but play Midnight Rider, yeah. Yeah, I did a full tutorial, I think, on that. I'm not sure if it's a full tutorial. It's been a long time, but it seems to like be floating around in there that song does live on the channel somewhere. Let's get into 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going back to the warm-up pattern. and we're using 1, 2, 3 stretch 4, we are approaching the old kickstand exercise, and we're using 4 attacks per beat to work 1, 2, 3 stretch 4. It is okay to kind of come to and from, go to and fro the warm up and the practice, as long as we allow ourselves the slack. You know what I mean? You've got to play the trout. You can't just kind of like set the hook. You got to let them run a little bit. So I look at practice and warm up the same way. If you want to do a little bit of a jump, and you got the gray ghost drifting downstream, and then you all of a sudden you slip off of the rock because your felt bottom shoes just kind of didn't grip the right way. You got to put the rod tip in the air. You're going down the rapid river. You're going for a ride, and you might not survive it, but your best chance is to tighten your wader belt. If you don't have a wader belt and you haven't put your feet straight up in the air, perpendicular to the floor of the river underneath you, the stream underneath you during that rush, you might not make it. But you've got to keep your rod tip up. You got to still play the line, and then you've got to get your feet up out of the way so you don't get broken extremities. And then eventually you'll come down to the riffle, and then you put your feet down slowly, and you thank God you touch bottom, and you can stand up and you look back at Kenny or Fen, and you say, you let out a huge woo, and it echoes through the whole valley, and you both know that you survived something important and special, But it's, we come back to it. You can put your feet down again, and we're right back to where we left off. And you land the fish, you know what I mean? Sometimes there's a little bit of a mess in between, but that's the important stuff, right? That's where we find those little breaks in practice. So I wanted to talk continually about practice and how to frame practice. How do I frame practice? Well, number one, I schedule it. I place things on the agenda like as if I'm going to a business meeting or a charity meeting, and I try to keep the agenda known to my person, a few days ahead of schedule, so I can be thinking about if I wanted to add some other things to the agenda. What am I adding to what am I realistically going to cover? How much time do I have for this exercise? Did I want to start learning this song? How long am I going to take for each practice session, from each practice session to practice, the song for 10 minutes so that I can get this far and then have the whole song learned in 3 months, That's all a huge part of my own personal regimen. On a good season, I'm really pumping things together. I'm connecting things in that way. And it's, that is a freebie right there. That is a free. Most of us don't have the discipline to do that, though. We just want to play guitar and sort of like fool around with it. And I got to tell you, I feel totally okay about doing it that way too. And if someone tells me otherwise, I just remind them. I remind myself, well, they're not the ones playing the guitar. I'm the one playing the guitar. So I'll just keep playing it my old way, and I'll take what I think might work for me and leave the rest, right? Pretty easy. But I know Kevin is one of those people who values quality experience and time. So if you're like either one of us, Kevin or me, or I think Dan, probably all of us here, definitely appreciate the quality of the thing without having to say that we appreciate the quality of the thing every time we do something, right? Quality this, quality that. Well, yeah, I sort of grow to appreciate that there's a certain level of quality involved. I don't really need you to tell me it's quality, because I can be the judge of what is and what isn't quality, right? So you know what to set up for yourself for a practice session. You could start with a 5-minute warm-up. If you don't start with, a morning ritual, yeah, I know what you mean, Kevin. I'm with you, man. I started at 56 years of age. Started what? Oh, okay. So I see the welcome, Marina. I missed somebody. Sorry about that, Marina. Hi from Scandinavia. Wish I could play guitar. I want to learn. Me too. I stay away from sugar as much as I can. I struggle. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, you and me both. Man, it's a good thing to stay away from, though. Yeah, steer clear of it. See, after like a little bit, like a little while of warming up with the guitar, like you can just start ripping it apart. Like you just see splinters flying everywhere. In my mind, to me, that feels like I just drank like 9 cups of espresso. You know what I mean? But and it feels so good to be able to do that, to have the agility sort of to be able to do that. If that's something that you want to do too, it's just really a hop, skip, and a jump away. And it's just this really cool, like Al Di Meola. It's not even efficiency picking, right? Although you could make it a Di Meola thing, but it's just simply down, up, down, up, down, up. And it's basically the bottom 3 notes of the Aeolian tetrachord. And then we move that 1, 2, flat, 3, 4, 5, flat, 6, 1, 2, flat, 3, 4, 5, flat, 6, 1, 2, flat, 3, 4, 5, flat, 6, up an octave, right? And it's this beautifully symmetrical pattern. And then you can soar above it and grab these, you know, positional things and land on a C note. They're just really fun, really easy, mindless things to do on the guitar. Part of practice, part of defining practice for me is going to be like, what do I want to do? It's like that Twisted Sister video. What do you want to do with your life? And the kid says, I want to rock. Well, once you decide you want to rock, then we're not going to take anything else for a standard except for, we've got to make a list. You know, what do I want to do? I want to get through Ted Green's book, you know. I want to get all the way through the Ted Green book, come hell or high water. I'm going to do it, and we're doing it, as a matter of fact, right now on the channel. And but I want to learn, you know, these chords. I want to learn, you know, all of the major 7 chords, or all of the 7th chords in every key. And I wanted to learn these 3 songs in 3 months. Let me give myself a 3-month goal, like a short-term goal. And let me give myself a long-term goal. Where do I see myself in 5 years? Am I even still playing the guitar? You know, if I can see myself not having failed miserably at practicing and setting up or establishing myself as a guitar practitioner, I'm going to give it a think, you know. Am I still playing the guitar in 5 years? Am I making good health choices? Am I making good physical choices, good mental choices, good social choices? Am I making good financial choices? Am I going to be able to play the guitar? Am I, you know, is my aerobic or anaerobic exercise? Am I yogic? You know, what is it going to take for me to be playing the guitar? Do I have to soak my hands? Do I have to be prepared to soak my hands for 5 to 10 minutes in warmer than lukewarm water just to get them all softened up so that I can practice without pain? I mean, it is like it does become a bit of an expedition, right? If you want to maintain guitar residency, right? Residency as a guitar practitioner, it does involve things. Of course, you all know this anyway. I don't know what I'm talking, you know. I don't know why I'm not sharing anything you don't know. Sort of sometimes it feels a little asinine, but you know, you never know. There's that one person who could hear it, and then they're the next, you know, Michelangelo on the guitar. That's kind of the way I look at it. You know, is we owe it to our communities to put those good messages out there. It doesn't matter what stage we're at in life. whether we're insecure, we don't want our neighbor to get better than us, you know, whatever. I remember what Red Green used to say, you know, he'd start that little segment, he'd end it, but he'd start it with advice and then he'd end it by tying his fly, and he says, remember, we're all in this together. And I always thought, you know, it's pretty special to have that show run for like 15 seasons, and there's a reason why it ran 15 seasons, you know. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into like just some simple, you know, sort of accompaniment patterns. We'll probably start with some, you know, basic strum patterning again, but this time I'm going to work on embellishment, you know, the same way that we were talking about Joe Pass embellishing. You know, you can embellish a chord, and I'm starting with the G chord for no other reason that it's simply one of the greatest sounding chords on a standard tuned guitar, right? So it's standard tune. I'm not moving this. Here it is for now. You can see what it is. It's we're here on fret number 3 on the low E string, fret number 2 on the A, open D, open G, open B, and open fret 3 on the high E string. And then if you wanted to sort of survey, take a quick survey about whether or not we're properly fretting the tones, you could just kind of work your way through. Oh, I've got to choke this out here. It's okay. It's the third, and you know, who cares about the third anyway, right? But I'm going to use my third finger and then roll it up a little bit so that I can actually let that A string breathe instead of just kind of choke it out or mute it. I'd like to have everything kind of be crystal clear, you know, like we're fishing for grayling in the Yukon. You know, they don't live in anything other than pristine water, right? You know, there's that bridge in the Yukon, the first bridge you get to, and then you realize you're driving for days and you haven't seen any geometry at all. And then all of a sudden there's a bridge and you're like, whoa, wow, that's a lot to look at geometry. And then you get out on the bridge, you stand on the bridge and you look down and you realize that you can see the bottom of this fieldstone stream, and it is so clean and so clear. And then you go off to the side of the river and then you look at it and you realize what you thought was only a foot deep, because it's so clear, you realize it's like 14 or 15 feet deep. Right, from that other perspective, from looking at it on the bank on the other side of the river. But I want my strum patterns, whether I'm using like finger rolls, or strum patterns, I want those to be fully under control, you know. We don't talk about this nearly enough, because unless you're really interested in making good quality things, you know, most of us will typically overlook the basic, most fundamental pieces of music making, and to me, you know, notwithstanding. So we've got this really simple, right, picking hand pattern. So it's either one or the other. You know, you're either using a pick, or you're using your fingers, or what, you know, Joe Bonamassa is doing a lot is, you know, using these hybrid, you'd have seen players do these hybrid sort of picking things, right? Right, you can use, but we're just thinking, I'm thinking, you know, I could be one guitar player in this band playing down, down, and I'm really focusing on the metronome. And I don't want my picking hand to be like too hard on the downstroke. It should be the peak. The pick should feel like it's sweeping through the string. how would that look if we were just playing like, hey Chronic, what's going on? It's great to see you again, Chronic. I really appreciate you being here again. And I really appreciate the all of the exclamation points, right? I was just talking about the, I know we spent our last time I saw you, we were talking about Mr. Joe Bonamassa. And Kevin, remember how we were talking about that last time we saw Chronic here? I'm looking at like some of Mr. Bonamassa's like right hand technique or picking hand technique. There's this sort of hybrid styling, you know, that it's not really easy to get into, and a lot of us just sort of look at it with a big question mark. We're thinking, you know, yeah, just playing with a pick or playing with a plectrum and playing with fingers, they're two different things, and one of them is hard enough, and really I only have a lifetime to master one or the other one, right? Hey Dan, glad to have you here, man. Keep making music and smile more. That's a good thing. Because you know, with blues you don't lose, you know, it's like, with blues you win. I think if you're able to master the blues, that's the other thing about that, right? So we're just thinking forward rolls, really simple. Forward stuff, you know, really simple forward rolls, and then we're thinking, you know, in terms of maybe outlining the major scale, the G major scale underneath the G chord. Maybe we're outlining the G Lydian mode. Cool thing to do with a pick where we're just sort of brushing away. We're just brushing away, you know, just kind of sweeping the chimney a little bit. Hybrid indeed. I prefer finger picking, but can use a pick as well. And I just restored my grandpa guitar. Which one was that? Which one did you just restore? There is a really great thing going on here. I'm going to hang out with, I see that you can see Chronic sounds awesome. I'm on the same page as you. I'm going to hang out a little bit because Chronic's just pulling in, and I just think it's kind of cool to just see Chronic on board here a little bit. So I definitely appreciate it. Kevin is our channel moderator. We're very fortunate. I was on the horn with YouTube the other day about what I won't say, but I did mention Kevin's name, and I did say that, you know, he's definitely a plus to keeping the live chat light and lively. So, yo, I need help. So I bought this coffee machine. Okay. But thanks, Kevin, for being here. You know, really appreciate it. I'm going to hang out just for a couple more seconds. You know, I know your time is worth money. I know your time is is yeah, it's really funny how that works, isn't it? So if I leave that on there, I keep all of these live chats intact, so when you go back and watch these videos on demand, you're going to see that. And then I think probably, you know, it's a good idea for posterity, just to kind of have, we're creating, I don't have a .gov. We did talk about this the other day about how do we moderate things, but what I do moderate, just so you know, if you're driving by my house, which I curate my lawn, I spend a tremendous amount of effort and time and brain power curating my lawn, so that my dogs can run around and poop on it. We even pick up all of the dog poop, basket it, throw it away, you know, all of that stuff. So if you're driving by my lawn, just so we all know what I'm doing here in my live chat, just so we all know when you get banned or whatever, when you get removed, if you're driving by my lawn and you throw your bag of trash on my lawn, I'm going to remove it. And then if you come by again and you throw your trash on my lawn, I'm going to remove it again. And then the third time, then it's going to be a different process, right? The process will be an entirely different deal. But I think where we you know, we're trying to create a learning environment that we all feel good about, and we don't deal with this much at all. Hardly ever, you know. We almost never put people in timeouts, and I think it's just the nature of this channel. I think we're just typically tend to be tolerant, but you're right. To let those kinds of things live on in a learning environment, when learning can be hard enough already, you know, but we're working to lower the barrier of entry to the guitar. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, hybrid picking, and why are we hybrid picking, and instead of grabbing, you know, doing that telly lick with a pick. You know, I want to have my pick down here, basically. Like you saw the Oh Holy Night. I know, Jill, thank you for being here. You saw the Oh Holy Night that I did in sort of like the spirit of Chad Atkins and Bill Frisell, sort of like mashup in a Celtic tuning, right? And that was, you know, I wanted the fingerings to be a certain kind of fingering, and I wanted my fingers to basically, you know, be able to track, you know, an alternating bass line that remained constant. And sometimes, you know, doing that can be a little bit of a chore. And then what I would do is if I wanted to learn hybrid picking techniques, I would say, you know, one great place to really get that, you know, this is, again, I'm shooting from the hip, but one great way to get hybrid picking sequencing sort of going, if you wanted to be able to, let's say, rip like Mr. Joe Bonamassa, you know, and just be able to just have the ability to hybrid pick, you could start with alternating back and forth between the, you know, the low D string, or if you're not in an altered tuning, you could, in a standard tuning, you could get that octave thing going, and that takes a little bit of time to get used. Let's say you spent a few hours just kind of dialing that in. Now we can start moving to other root note areas. Maybe it's a good idea to use the thumb and the ring finger for that kind of, those fretted tones. And then it could clean up, right? So if I'm thinking I've got a problem here because I can't keep my fingers here, and I can't go here, which I normally would do for a look like, for that, you know, that kind of thing. I would probably try to roll around the open position there, but to keep that sort of lick alive whilst maintaining this kind of alternating bass line with the pick, I might use, you know, just slow it down and try to digest pieces of it. You know, sometimes when we're using alternating bass lines, we're together and then we're offset. Going to just get it together here. So we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3. And that way we have a high level of confidence in what we're doing. That becomes kind of another form of hybrid where we kind of loosen up our picking hand, but we'll continue that discussion as we move along in through the week. All right, I really appreciate you all being here today, and I sincerely hope you all have a remarkable day, and you finger pick any Chet Atkins. Oh, hey, Mr. Cool. So you can check out Mr. Cool. You can check out, I just did a little bit of a Fingerstyle salute to Bill Frisell and Chet Atkins in a Celtic tuning on my channel. You can go take a look at Oh Holy Night, and I hope that you check it out, and I hope if you do, you feel comfortable leaving me a little comment underneath the video. That'd be very helpful for me to understand what you're thinking about. I feel really good about some of those voicings, like especially at the climax where we're going up to the 6 minor chord, and just let me know what you think. But I'm going to let you go because I know everyone's busy, and I know your time is supremely valuable and irreplaceable. Lex, I appreciate you being here to the end today, and you got it, Marty. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and until we meet again, I wish you, let's see, I'm headed to work, just thought I would drop by and say hello. God bless you all. And I will be tuning in the mornings that I'm available. Stay blessed. Absolutely, Chronic. Thanks for being here. See you guys soon. All right. Junka, amen. Happy picking, gang. We'll see you tomorrow.